Hey guys, welcome back. Recently wrapped up watching Clone High, an animated series geared towards adults that originally aired in 2002. The show centers around a high school where all the students are clones of famous historical figures such as Abraham Lincoln, etc. And it's packed with wild and wacky adventures from teen beach dramas to weed fever dreams. This show did a lot for coming out again in 2002, so I have a few thoughts after watching it, of course mainly due to the revival that is set to release this summer. Now the show's premise I thought was great. It was a very clever idea. I think it's creative and reaching far out for an absurd comedy. The show focused mainly on the love triangle between Abe, Cleo, and Joan, but regardless, at the end of the day, it's a comedy series driven by teens who, unfortunately, have sex drives and nonsensical humor that really made me step back a few times with how vulgar the show can get. However, there are three things that ruined the show for me: inconsistent characters, no flow in the story, and an unsatisfactory love triangle. First off, the characters. One character I think was ruined especially was Gandhi, because his role was to drive out humor and be completely crazy and sporadic, and as long as characters like this aren't annoying, I typically enjoy these characters that are present. From the get-go, we grasped the idea that Gandhi and Abe are best friends and they are going to stick by each other's side and help each other out when things go south. But for some reason, for half of the show's run, Abe and Gandhi seem to have no connection whatsoever, with Gandhi going on these random missions and adventures on his own, not until an episode just randomly puts them back together again and they seem like the best of friends. I lost that sense of connection between the two around episode 4, and keep that episode in mind for some of the other points I'll be bringing up. But not only Gandhi, the other characters in the show were pretty static for the most part, without having any chemistry. Cleo was the down bad teen girl who reigned supreme around the school. JFK was the down bad teen guy who just wanted to bang girls. Why the fuck did they do JFK bad, man? Abe was the naive kid, and the principal was just an idiotic evil scientist. All tropes that we've seen before, except for probably JFK, and are just uninspiring to watch through, especially JFK. I think Joan was actually the most interesting character, with her ever-growing love for Abe slowly dwindling away as episodes go by and having mental breakdowns at certain points where I was sure she was a reasonable and logical person. Everyone else felt standard and boring. The next problem I have with the show is Clone High's lack of flow. This can also correlate with the characters, as I already mentioned, but will also apply to the plot of most of these episodes. As I mentioned before, we're going from an entire episode that spent Abe literally smoking and becoming high to the next episode focused mainly on the hatred between Cleo and Joan, both of Abe lovers for no apparent reason, mind you. Even the scientist slash principal, who I did like for a little bit, but at some point was just the gag of the entire show. In the beginning, it really did feel like there was a focus on him, kind of similar to Dexter's Laboratory in a sense, where he's a scientist, but that kind of craziness that makes him intriguing to watch. And finally, the biggest gripe that I have with the show is the love triangle. There is just no chemistry between any of these characters, and it's the thing that makes me really distaste the entire centerpiece of the show itself. I mean, come on, Abe just liked Cleo because she was hot, and Cleo seemed to just use Abe for the most part, whether that be for his time, effort, or affection, and it really just felt unhealthy. At one point, I believe the show was just going to be about Abe trying to heroically win Cleo's heart through JFK, as JFK was just a completely selfish person, but again, around episode 4, mind you, Abe and Cleo were together, and I was just like, oh, so the show's just gonna spend Joan crushing on Abe slash hating Cleo? Like, there was definitely a derailment, I feel, of how the story was supposed to go for these three, and it just didn't stick at all. And now, let's talk about that wonderful ending, shall we? It was probably the most moving bit of the series, if I'm going to be honest. Cleo pushed Abe to do something he felt uncomfortable with, something that society puts on a golden pedestal, and it was a good turning point for them. I assumed he would realize, hey, she doesn't really care about what I think, let's end this, right? But the show doesn't build upon that. I don't see Abe questioning whether the relationship was good or bad. No, Abe was questioning whether or not he should have sex with Cleo because he, for whatever reason, likes Joan now. These are two relatively similar questions, yes, but the approach is definitely something missed here that completely ruins Abe's judgment. But the absolute kicker, something I didn't didn't see coming at all. Literally no one saw coming, by the way. Joan breaking down to JFK, the womanizer for the whole season, and sleeping with him. Like, what the flip, man? I thought she was the, the reasonable person who knew JFK was a fat anus, but no, just sleeps with the guy. Joan, what are you doing? This is why before, by the way, I mentioned that Joan's probably the most interesting character in the show. She, for the entire show, basically was crushing on Abe, but after getting compassion from JFK for literally 2 minutes maybe, she found herself crushing on JFK now. And of course, yeah, the societal pressures push them towards each other literally here, I guess, and things end there. And to wrap up this wonderful turn of events, the FBI or whatever came to the party that they were that the clones were celebrating for prom, and the principal just ends up freezing everybody so he doesn't get criminally charged. And that is where this wonderful show ends. Overall, I had a decent time watching the show. Some of the episodes were interesting, but for the most part, I was disappointed with the writing of some of these characters and the flow of the story. I think the premise alone does carry the show's reputation for the most part, guaranteeing a reboot coming this year, which I should probably talk about now. I watched the trailer and I'm overall meh about what's to come. I'm glad the show is sticking to its dark humor as well as improving the animation, but god dang, what did they do to Gandhi? Apparently there were protests back in the day over the show picturing the real Gandhi as an idiot, but of course the show is just parody, but at any rate, there's no more Gandhi, which is weird for a show like this to just forget about a character on the main cast like that. But yeah, I'm not too excited for this, but I'll definitely check out the reboot when it comes out and hope they give resolve to both Gandhi and Joan. Alright, and as we usually do for these Is This Show Any Good series, guys, let me know in the comments if you guys like or liked Clone High at any point, and what are some other shows that you think I should watch. I want to watch some older shows now that anime is taking a backseat for the next few months, but otherwise I'm watching Demon Slayer and the new show on HBO Max, Unicorns War Eternal, made by Gendy, and it looks like an amazing show, so can't wait to watch this series in the upcoming months. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, guys, thank you guys for watching, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Cheers!